Okay, let's get started with the lymphatic system. Lymphatic system help you to defend pathogen. And we're going to talk about the cells, we're going to talk about the organs in the lymphatic system. And this picture shows you your lymphatic system. Your whole body, you have those lymphatic organs, and you have those lymph node, and the liquid flow inside, we call them lymph. The functions, you produce and distribute lymphocyte. Lymphocyte is a specific kind of white blood cell. We'll talk about this later. Also maintain your blood volume, and your body fluid can go into your lymphatic system, become lymph, so you can reduce edema. And your lymphatic vessels, they are similar to the vein system. Start from the peripheral and gradually go to the center. They start from the lymphatic capillary. They are very small from the peripheral tissue, and the lymph eventually go back to your blood circulation. It will go back to the vein system, and it will go through two ducts. One is thoracic duct, the other is right lymphatic duct. When we look at your lymphatic system, it looks like this. It's not 50-50. You have two ducts. It's 25%, 75%. Your 25%, your right arm, excuse me. So your right arm, this lymph will go through your right lymphatic duct, go back to your circulation. And the other 75% of your body fluid will go to the thoracic duct. So it's divided to 25%, 75%. And the right side, okay, the lymph will go back to your circulation through the right lymphatic duct and go to your right subclavian vein. Because of that, if you some women, they surgically remove their right breast, one side effect is they're gonna have the arm edema. They're gonna have liquid accumulate in the right arm because they block the circulation of the lymphatic system. And your lymphatic veins start from peripheral. So in your peripheral, you have the capillary, that's the capillary. And the fluid come from the blood, plasma become the ECF. It will go back, most of them will go back through the capillary, go back to your blood circulation. But some of them will stay in the peripheral, we call them ECF. And this liquid will go back through the lymphatic capillary. And once they move in, we call them lymph. We don't call them blood, we call them lymph. And this slide shows you those lymphatic capillaries. So they are pretty small, and they have valve because the pressure there is pretty low, and the valves help the blood to go in one direction. Not blood, lymph to go in one direction. So in the vein, also in the lymphatic capillary, and you have the valve. Let's look at the cells. You have the three kinds of cells, lymphocytes: T cell, B cell, and natural killer cell. The T cells, I say the T cells are like Marine. So if you think about military, they are the one do the hand-in-hand combat. They are the one to go to find the pathogen and really fight with the pathogen. And you have two different kinds of T lymphocytes. Cytotic T lymphocyte, that's the one really do the hand-in-hand combat. And you have the regulatory T cells. They are like the supporting unit in military. Like you have the helper T cell, suppressor T cell. They help the cytotic T cell. And cytotic T cell are the combat unit in military. And let's look at the B lymphocyte. B lymphocyte is more like Air Force. So they throw a bomb, they produce antibody. So they do the antibody-mediated immunity. So also called antibody, also called immunoglobulin. The third one is natural killer cell. Natural killer cells, they are non-specific immune. They are not like the surveillance. They are like the police. They travel in your whole body. If they see anything suspicious, like foreign cells or your cells unhealthy, being infected by virus, and sometimes cancer cells, they'll deal with it. The lymphocytes, they are white blood cells. They start from 3 places. They can be born in bone marrow, also in thymus, and inside some lymphoid node, they can also produce lymphocyte. So these slides tell you, okay, start from the stem cells, and they will divide into 3 different kind of lymphocyte: T lymphocyte, B lymphocyte, natural killer cell. And the T lymphocyte will go to thymus. It can go to the thymus. So thymus is the organ mainly produce T lymphocyte. And the B lymphocyte and natural killer cells, and also some T cells, can go to the peripheral tissue and divide there, like those nodule lymph node. So let's look at those lymphoid nodule. So they are made of loose connective tissue and packed with lymphocyte. Tonsil is one. There's the one in your mouth. So let's look at this part. So you have the tonsil, and they are the checking point to fight the pathogen go to your mouth. And some of them, they become overactivated. So you may hear some children have to surgically remove some tonsil because they got infected all the time. And if you remove them, you still have others. Now let's look at the lymphoid organ, including the lymph node, thymus, and spleen. Thymus is in your thoracic cage. Spleen is in your abdominal pelvic cavity. Lymph node. Lymph nodes are those lymphoid tissues with lymphocyte. So they're like the checking point, because all the lymph will go from the peripheral, go back to your center circulation, and they're like the checking point. They set up a lot of checking points before those liquids go back to your blood. And if they find antigen, they'll kill them. They'll fight with them. And sometimes when you get sick, those lymph nodes become bigger, and that's because they produce more soldiers. They produce more lymphocyte to participate in the battery, in the battle, in the fight. So these are the lymph nodes. Start from peripheral. Those liquids will flow from peripheral and go through those lymph nodes, and now they will go back to your circulation. So these are the checking points. They have the armed soldier waiting there. If they see the antigen, they can kill them. Thymus. Thymus is the lymph organ in your thoracic cage. This organ very unique. It's very active when you were kids, but after puberty it gradually shrink. When you turn adult, it turns into a scar tissue. In some old people, the thymus become activated again when they're getting old. And it's main organ for T cell to develop. So that's your thymus. That's your thymus. Behind your sternum, posterior to your sternum. That's your thymus. Your spleen is the big lymph organ in your thoracic, abdominal pelvic cavity. And the spleen, when we cut it, some tissue look white. We call it white pop. And they're like lymph nodules, so they are the place produce lymphocyte. You also have some tissue look red. It's called a red pop. And their function are similar to liver. Liver get rid of the old red blood cell. So red blood cell live for about 120 days, and they will be killed by your liver when they're getting old. So it always produce new red blood cell. So the red pop, this part actually share the same function as the liver. They get rid of the old red blood cell, recycle red blood cell. So that's in your abdominal pelvic cavity, and that's your spleen. Okay, let's take a break.